In 2014, si Edgar Mato came out.
Yes.
Si former Secretary Lara de Lima and then naging senator, siya yung nagdala and sa Senado kay Mato to testify
Yes.
doon sa hearing. Ma'am, can you go back a little bit? 2014 pala. Did I say 2024? 2014. How did it come to pass na si Mato linked up with the government and started giving his testimony?
Okay, it started nung umalis na si Edgar Mato from the DDS. Natakot siya.
About that
Kasi
squad.
there was this case na I think it's the killing of a businessman there, a certain Richard King.
Yes.
And I don't know what exactly yung naging issue doon. Ang claim niya is that tinorture siya at pinagkaisahan siya ng kanyang mga dating kasamahan sa DDS. So that's why he had no choice but to leave the DDS and then lumapit siya sa isang regional office ng CHR. That was in 2014. Now, I was already with the DOJ then. Sa 2015 siya, yung officially na linagay sa Witness Protection Program ng DOJ. That was September 2015. Malapit na ako noon na umalis as DOJ Secretary. Say I filed my certificate of candidacy for the 2016 elections in October of 2015. So kinover siya under the Witness Protection Program. So nakaalis na ako noon as DOJ Secretary to run for the Senate.
Opo.
And then, nung nanalo na si Mr. Duterte as President in 2016, pero hindi pa siya nanunumpa as President, no? Although the election results were already clear
Opo.
na siya talaga yung panalo, Mr. Matubato decided to leave the WPP, natakot na siya. Since naging Pangulo na nga yung tinuturo niya na mastermind ng mga DDS killings. At alam niya na nanganganib na yung kanyang buhay. So he left. He left the Witness Protection Program of the DOJ. And then ang pagkakaalam ko ay that kinupkup na siya ng simbahan. The certain clergymen and I cannot actually disclose who they are.
We understand.
Yun ang kumupkup sa kanya. And until they accessed me, nung nag-start na yung hearing sa Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights when I was still the chairperson, na nag-file ako noon ng resolution to conduct a probe into the EJKs that were happening under the name of the war on drugs. So may namagitan sa amin, pinamit sa akin yan. Of course, discreetly, si Mr. Matubato at aking in-interview. And he was willing to testify before the Senate. So we had several sessions with him na talaga namang, I played the devil's advocate because I had to vet him first before I would present him dun sa hearing. So nung nakita ko na pwede nga siyang i-present kasi I found his story as credible, I present ko na siya. That was sometime in September when I was September 2016 when I was still the chairperson of that committee. But after presenting him, ayun, I was the majority of my colleagues in the Senate ousted me as the chairperson of that committee. Yung parang yun ang naging miksa kung bakit inalis nila ako as chairperson of that committee. So kaya nung nag-continue na under a new chairperson, ay yung naging conclusion nila is that hindi daw credible si Mr. Matubato. Hindi sila naniwala kay Mr. Matubato. That's why I had to file a dissenting report to the majority report. Na yung pinaka-conclusion kasi sa majority report was that the killings that were happening then were not state-sanctioned, or there was no evidence that the killings were state-sanctioned. So they did not believe Mr. Matubato, who was already saying na nakikita niya na yung mga nangyayaring pagpatay noon, kasi nagsimula nga kaagad yung pagpatay noon, even before, again, Mr. Duterte officially assumed the presidency, meron na mga nanabalita na mga pinatay. And sinabi niya yon na nakikita niya na pwede rin kagagawan yan actually ng mga DDS din, yung iba. So, but they did not believe him. So I had to file a dissenting report. And I had to present comprehensively yung kung ano, yung mga naging testimony ni Mr. Matobato. And at that time also, nung ongoing pa yung committee hearings na yon, ay pinatawag din actually si Mr. Las Cañas and some other Davao policemen. And they all denied that there was a DDS. They all denied that there were killings by the DDS, but nobody among them ever denied about the identity of Mr. Matobato. They all claimed, including Mr. Las Cañas, that kilala nila si Edgar Matobato. And then later, sometime in February, actually that was just a few days before I was arrested in February 24, 2017. In February 17, if I'm not mistaken, of the year 2017, I recant ni Mr. Las Cañas yung kanyang unang testimony sa Senate Committee on Justice and Human Rights na walang DDS, hindi sila members ng DDS, walang mga DDS killings. This time around, Mr. Las Cañas admitted that there is really a DDS at members nila ng DDS at yung mga sinabi ni Mr. Matobato ay mga totoo. So he corroborated the testimony of Mr. Matobato.
Yes, ma'am.
Senator Laila, nung hearing nung committee niyo dati, sino yung mga senador na publicly ay kinontra yung testimony ni Matobato? At saka yung inyong dissenting opinion, may kopya ba kayo nun? Dahil historic document na yan eh. Maganda na balikan yung inyong testimony na yan, no? Para makita ng tao na hindi ito nagsimula ngayon. Nagsimula ito a long time ago, no? At merong parang conspiracy para i-deny itong mga testimony na ito. Pero siguro yung una kong tanong, sino ba yung mga senador na publicly, aggressively kinontra yung testimony ni Magalang?
Ang naalala ko noon is the new chairperson, Senator Dick Gordon, and then other members. Sila Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. And then Senator Ping Lacson ay hindi rin naniniwala kay Mr. Matobato. And then even the Senator Vic Soto, Tito Soto. Yung Senate President noon. No, they're among those na publicly meron silang sinasabi about the testimony of Edgar Matobato that is not a credible witness. His story also is not credible. Now, yung dissenting report ko, yes, it's available. I have the dissenting report. And in fact, I submitted it to the Quad Committee. I also submitted it to the Senate the Blue Ribbon Subcommittee. Yung sa committee ni Senator Coco Pimentel, I submitted it. I also submitted my dissenting report to the ICC because I also submitted the supplemental communication. Doon sa naging communication na sinubmit nila the late Attorney Jude Savio, because he was the very first who submitted the communication to the ICC. Sinundan nila former Senator Sonny Trillanes and former Congressman Gary Alejano. They have a supplemental communication to the communication of Attorney Savio. And then I also submitted a supplemental communication to the communication of Attorney Savio and also the communications of Trillanes and Alejano. And I attached, as among the annexes of my communication, a copy of my dissenting report and its various attachments. Kasi may mga attachments din yung aking dissenting report. I can always share with you that dissenting report. It's a matter of public record. It's with the Senate. So it's there, and it's a comprehensive presentation exactly of what happened in the Senate committee hearings, and especially on the very testimony of Mr. Edgar Matobato.
Senator, ano yung main nila, yung contention nila? Kasi si Ping Lacson, hindi naman yan, magaling yan na investigador eh. And ang
Yes.
sabi niya, he described Edgar Matobato as a perjured witness and a polluted source. At sabi niya, kinukumpara nga niya dun sa ibang mga nag-testify din sa kanya na paiba-iba daw ang istorya, sila Ador Mawana, you know. So ano yung main argument nila? Kasi I ask this kasi kung merong ganyang tao na nagda-doubt sa testimony ni Mr. Matobato, siguro pinag-aaralan din yan ngayon ng ICC because he's one of the key witnesses dito sa kaso against Rodrigo Duterte. Ano ba yung main na, kung ano man yung nakitang butas nila Ping Lacson doon sa istorya nila Mr. Matobato. In fact, sinama niya pati si Mr. Las Cañas. Sabi niya, perjured witness din yan. Ano yung main argument nila doon?
Hindi ko na matandaan, Ana Marino, yung kung exactly ano yung mga specifics o mga particulars na meron silang issue with respect to credibility. Pero parang overall ano nila is that there are some portions of their testimonies, both Matobato and Las Cañas, na incredulous. Yun ang sabi nila. Yung parang, and then meron din mga konting mga butas-butas. Kasi syempre, ako mismo, when I also evaluated the testimony of both Mr. Matobato and Las Cañas, kasi nakita ko naman yung affidavit din ni Mr. Las Cañas, even if wala na ako noon, nung nag-recant na siya, no? Nung meron na siyang bagong affidavit na kino-corroborate yung mga sinasabi ni Mr. Matobato. Siyempre, meron din mga ilan-ilan na mga details na medyo may inconsistency. Pero hindi yung ikabuat. Natural naman yan eh. Because with so many things that they were narrating, ang dami ng mga cases of killings, incidents of killings, and other crimes like abduction, meron pang rape, and yung mga ganon. Sa dami ng mga ganon mga insidente, they were able to recollect a lot of them. And then syempre, hindi maiiwasan na magkakaroon talaga ng mga butas-butas din yung mga istorya nila. But what is important is that the overall, kasi nagtutugma nga yung kina Mr. Matobato and also Mr. Las Cañas, mas madami yung mga shinare, yung mga ninarrate ni Mr. Las Cañas, lalo na yung sa kanyang ICC affidavit, which consists of 186 pages. So yun ang parang pinakaano nila. Now, nabanggit mo, Ana Marina, ICC already scrutinized their respective claims. I mean, si Mr. Las Cañas, nakuha na ng ICC. Now, he was given, in fact, a partial immunity. That was reported, that he was given a limited immunity. Now, si Mr. Matobato ay nakaalis rin, just like Las Cañas, who left earlier, sometime in 2019. Now, si Mr. Matobato, alam ko, was able to leave second quarter of last year. Nung una, hindi pa siya ina-access ng ICC. Eventually, they did. And that's why, kailangan na niyang umalis para mas maging easier yung magiging access ng ICC sa kanya. So, ICC vetted both already. And tinanggap na yung lalo na yung kay Mr. Las Cañas. I'm not very updated as to Mr. Matobato as to the very status ng kanyang pagiging sa ICC niya. Pero ang alam ko, na-access na rin siya ng ICC. And that both of them are now under the protective custody of ICC. So pasado sa ICC, importante silang witnesses para sa kanila. Dahil nga doon sa, remember yung period na covered ng ICC investigation is from 2011 to 2019. Now, Mr. Duterte became president in 2016. But they're also looking at the killings, the continued killings of the DDS from 2011 to 2015. Na kaya nga, lumalabas din yung pangalan ni VP Sara because she was then the mayor. Of Davao City. May mga DDS killings pa rin at that time. And then in 2016 happened na nandyan yung drug war killings at sinasabi nila na yung DDS mismo, the DDS ang ginawa nilang model we all heard the testimony of Ruina Garma. Ngayon ang ginawang model, the DDS, the Davao model, which could only refer to the DDS. And dati nang sinabi yan kasi, kila Matobato and Las Cañas. So ako talaga...
Senator, you
Yes.
being a former Justice Secretary, you think okay na yung testimony nila, or will the ICC or any investigating body require material evidence, for example? Kasi yung kwento nila, Mr. Matobato, sinapchap daw nila yung mga pinakain sa buhaya, medyo mahirap na maghanap yata ng DNA nun. Although yung sa Laud area, baka may mahukay pa doon na may DNA. You think you will need material evidence pa just to bolster the case?
But again, I do not know exactly the actual the state of evidence. Basta ang alam ko, nandyan nga sila Mr. Las Cañas, nandyan si Mr. Matobato, and baka nga meron pang iba na na-access na. In so far as the DDS killings are concerned. And then now, of course, in 2016, yun, I think they have enough there. Yun from 2016, the drug war killings. May mga in-access na rin silang iba. And then the complainants, I mean, the EJK families ay mga tumutulong. May mga information sila na mga sinubmit sa ICC, and ICC must have also access already these complainants, these EJK families and others. No, so knowing ICC, of course, yung ano sila, talagang they're very professional, and therefore they want to be very sure about the state of evidence that they have before further proceedings, like yung issuance
Yes,
ng warrant of arrest, na umaasa kami and confident kami na magkakaroon ng warrant of arrest. And maybe that probably partly explains why medyo nadidelay pa. Wala pa yung warrant of arrest kasi baka meron pa sila muna iba pa na mga bine-verify, mga ina-assess at mga ini-scrutinize
Yes,
na mga ebidensya.
Ma'am, I'm sure
Yes.
you've read the Manila Times, the New York Times article that came out several days ago. I'm sure you've already read it. The details given by Matobato in that interview with the New York Times, they were
Very
some of them
graphic.
were astoundingly graphic. He talked about among other things, chopping up the bodies, putting the head inside the torso cavity, and as well even
Three young
slicing,
teenagers.
and even slicing some flesh from a victim and then eating it among themselves. I'm wondering if he went into that kind of detail when he was discussing his case with you in 2016, or this is completely new.
Most of them ay dati na niyang sinabi. Most of them are already in this affidavit. Yung judicial affidavit niya, which formed part of the complaint affidavit that was filed in the Office of the Ombudsman in December 26, December 2016. Yes, pero wala pa, hindi namin alam kung ano yung status. It's still pending before the Office of the Ombudsman. Some of these are there already, and some of these are already part of the transcripts doon sa Senate Committee hearing. Now, ang parang bagong narinig ko, I'm not so sure, is about yung may kinain
Yung kinain
na
the thigh.
yeah. But about yung yung meron silang yung dun sa crocodile, kasama yun, kasama yun. Dati na niya yan sinabi.
Dati na.
Sa Senate pa lang. And then in his complaint affidavit before the Office of the Ombudsman. At kung makita nyo, yung ICC affidavit of Mr. Las Cañas, yun, mas maraming detalye yun.
Yes.
And there are also graphic descriptions there.
Yes. Senator, kasama ba dyan sa testimony nila yung planong i-assassinate si Senator Trillanes at saka kayo? No? Nung death squad, nung Davao death squad, no? DDS?
Yes, sa Senate, nabanggit na niya yan. Na meron pala silang plano noong 2009, nung kami, me and my team, it was just a small team.
Commission on Human Rights.
Nakakuha kami ng tip from another former DDS hitman. Hindi pa sila Matabato, hindi pa sila Mr. Las Cañas, ibang former DDS hitman ang nagsabi na meron hong mga bangkay dyan ng mga tinatapon sa Laud Quarry. Now, may pinuntahan kaming portion doon sa Laud Quarry in 2009. It's a hilly part kasi, the Laud. Hilly siya. So nakarating kami at one point, and then may nakita rin kaming skull and a few bones. Pero that's all we saw at that point. Kasi we had to stop our digging. My team had to stop the digging kasi medyo magdidilim na. So ang nakita lang namin was a skull and a few skeletal bones. And we learned later na yung karamihan pala was dun sa higher portion. And presumably, that was the portion na sinasabi ni Mr. Matabato na siya at yung kasamahan niya, yung ambush team, ay nandun sa portion na yon. Pero hindi naman kami nakarating doon. Kaya hindi nangyari yon. That's why I'm still alive. No, so nasabi na niya yan sa Senate hearing. Now, I would not know whether my colleagues believe that. Maybe they also did not believe that. Pero inulit siya ni Mr. Matabato sa kanyang complaint affidavit when he filed that sa ombudsman, and then binanggit niya ulit dyan sa interview with Miss Hannah Beach of the New York Times.
Na-ambushin dapat kayo.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then about Sonny Trillanes, narinig namin yan kay Mr. Las Cañas. It's part of his affidavit.
Yes,
kay Mr. Las Cañas.
Ma'am, balikan ko lang po yung investigation ninyo noong 2009.
Hanggang saan umabot yung sa ombudsman?
Hindi pa namin alam yung tungkol sa complaint affidavit. Wala pa kaming balita on the exact status of the complaint affidavit filed by Mr. Matabato. Now, meron unang mga inimbestigahan din, yung ombudsman, they filed cases against some Davao policemen, and they were even placed under preventive suspension, but later, I linifed them. And then, I think, nung nakarating din sa Court of Appeals, wala na yung kaso. I think it was dismissed.
Ma'am, balikan ko lang yung investigation po ng CHR under your watch in 2009. Could you give us a refresher? What exactly happened after that investigation? Kasi yun po yung pinambabala for quite some time ng Duterte camp na nag-imbestiga raw ho kayo dun sa DDS nung kay CHR at wala raw ho kayong nahanap that could pin him down or pin down the DDS. That is their claim. But could you give us, from your perspective and from your point of view, what exactly did you find and how come it never progressed beyond that investigation po in all those years since 2009 hanggang 2016?
Okay. Now, nung nag-conduct kami ng series of public inquiries right there in Davao, me and the entire CHR and bank, nag-conduct kami ng public inquiries. Kaya lang doon sa public inquiry, ang mga nag-appear lang doon ay yung mga, including then Mayor Rodrigo Duterte, some other officials of Davao, and then also some policemen, police officers, and then military officers, and then most of them ang sinasabi, there's no such thing as DDS. They have not heard of DDS. Now, yung mga na-access namin, ilan sila. I think 5 or 6 of them, na mga may alam about the DDS, they were unable to testify in that public inquiry. Takot sila. Nagpumayag lang sila na i-interview namin sila. And they did not even agree dun sa i-record namin sila. But we were taking down notes. And then yung affidavit, while they executed affidavit, we had to use aliases. They did not want to be recognized. Yung mga na-approach namin, some of them claimed that they were also part of the DDS. Now, we were able to conduct about 4 or 5 inquiries. And then when we were, kaya lang, before matapos yung paggawa ng resolutions and recommendation from that inquiry, I was appointed as the DOJ secretary in 2010, when Pinoy assumed office. So the records of the case nasa CHR, but I provided them with what I call my personal notes based on the findings ng inquiry. And eventually, I think it was in 2012 that they were able to, 2012 or 2014, that the Commission and Bank, then chaired by Eta Rosales, came up with that resolution na recommending the filing of charges against Mayor Duterte. So it was filed with the COMELEC. I'm sorry, with the Office of the Ombudsman. And I'm not sure. I think it was dismissed by the Office of the Ombudsman on the claim that according to the then regional director in Davao ng CHR, chismis lang daw yung DDS. So they did not lend credence again to the findings of the CHR.
Yes, ma'am. Pero ma'am, but that was also the time when you were well positioned, politically at least, to
Yes.
push the investigation forward and to see the complaint through. But kasi that's also one of the things being raised by Duterte supporters na parang in all those years na kayo po ay nasa justice portfolio, hindi rin po umandar masyado yung kaso versus Duterte. That's one point po that's been raised time and time again, especially in 2016.
In the first place, as I said, nagkaroon na rin ng resolution yung CHR nung wala na ako. And then it was referred to the Office of the Ombudsman. Pero halos walang nangyari doon sa Office of the Ombudsman. Now, nung si Mr. Matobato ay dumating sa DOJ, and as I said, ay na-cover siya officially nung September lang of 2015. Although, nung lumapit siya sa DOJ, I assigned it to the NBI na pwede bang you try to verify. Although, at that point, ang chief complaint lang ni Mr. Matobato was about his alleged torture by his former colleagues in the DDS. So halos wala pa about the DDS killings. Kasi si Mr. Matobato was not yet there during the CHR inquiry in Davao. And even Mr. Las Cañas, hindi pa namin sila nakita noon. Yung iba lang na a few former DDS hitmen. No, kanina I said that yung ayaw nila na magpakilala. They did not want to disclose their real identity. So these things needed follow-through investigation. And so I assigned that to the NBI, and then yung initial report sa akin ng NBI was that nahihirapan sila to gather or to look for mga supporting evidence or corroborative evidence, precisely for lack of cooperation, and wala daw gusto magsalita dun sa mga linalapitan nila noon. So wala talagang nangyari na after that, because hindi na nagkaroon ng parang case build up on what was being claimed then tungkol sa GDS.
Siguro mahalaga yung testimony mismo ni Digong dito sa Senate na inamin niya na mayroong Lambada Group na 7 na kino-corroborate in a way yung sinabi ni Matobato na siya ay bahagi nung 7 na Lambada Group na yan. No, siguro mahalaga malaman natin sino-sino ba yung 7 na yan. No? At sana ay sila ay magkaroon ng araw sa korte para yung kanilang mga kasalanan ay talagang magkaroon ng hustisya.
Pinangalanan niya in one of the interviews I watched.
Mukhang hindi na buhay lahat no? May mga patay na rin.
Tsaka hindi sila Yes, ma'am. Go ahead po.
Yeah.
I pointed that out. I pointed that out when I appeared before the Quad Committee hearing last November 7. And in fact, I named those other members of the so-called Lambada Boys. 6 sila plus Edgar Matobato, and that's 7. So exactly what Duterte was saying dun sa Senate hearing, na 7. Kasi sabi nga ni Edgar Matobato, yung ibang members of the Lambada Boys ay 6 sila. I have the names. And even gave them, I mentioned them in the course of my appearance before the Quadcom last November 7.
Pero Senator, sabi ni President Duterte, hindi daw niya matandaan, hindi ba? Medyo pa iba-iba siya ng istorya eh. You think, are you confident na kung gagamitin yung testimony niya before the Quadcom, it will stand in a court? Kasi pa iba-iba siya eh. Medyo magulo yung testimony niya actually eh. Pakambyo-kambyo siya eh.
Well, both sa Senate and then sa Quadcom, meron talaga siyang mga admissions. No, mas marami pa nga siyang admissions dun sa Quadcom. Now, well, that's admission against interest. So pwede talagang gamitin yan. That's a very high form of evidence. Ang problema, as you pointed out, Anna Marie, is that may mga paiba-iba rin siya, binabawi. Pero yung pagbabawi niya, ay kasama rin yan sa ano eh. But why in the first place would you mention certain things and then later to take them back? And inaano lang yan eh. So I'm sure the ICC is very interested on those testimonies of President Duterte himself. Yung mga admissions niya, lalo na yung sinasabi niya, meron talagang DDS, and then yung mga sinasabi niya that at times, siya rin mismo ang pumapatay. And in fact, in the Quadcom, at hindi nasabi niya yun sa Senate, sinabi pa niya na even mga police, meron din siyang mga pinapatay. So that was not mentioned earlier in the Senate, but mentioned in the Quadcom. These are heavy stuff. These are very significant admissions. Now I'm sure nagpalakas. It could only bolster the ICC case with those admissions.
Ma'am, ako last question, ma'am, before we let you go. So did I get it clearly, ma'am, na, no? Did I get it right na Edgar Matobato is now under the ICC? Just like Las Cañas, kasi parang ang tagal ni Matobato bago makuha ng ICC eh. So now he is officially under the ICC, under the protection. I don't know. Is that the
Pinag-usapan
right
namin
word
yan
there?
kahapon, Senator eh. Tinatanong nila kasi kung anong ginagawa ni Matobato sa Europe. Sabi ko, di naman siguro nagkakape at saka kumakain ng keso.
Baka gaya mo, binisita si Santo Papa.
That's why he had to leave. He had to leave dahil nga ina-access na siya ng ICC. And now, just like Mr. Las Cañas, what I know is that he is also under the protective custody now of the ICC in an undisclosed location.
Okay, under the protective custody of the ICC.
Protective custody.
So,
Ang hindi ko lang alam if
Mm.
pareho rin ni Mr. Las Cañas ay na meron na that he was also granted immunity. Kasi si Mr. Las Cañas was granted limited immunity. Now, that one I don't know about Mr. Matobato.
In his interview sa New York Times, he was saying that he does not want the immunity. He wants justice. He's willing to be punished so long as the others are punished as well. So meron siyang ganung controversial na pihit na parang don't forgive me, go after all of us.
Yes.
Wala pa noon, maski sa Senate, testimony, nung ini-interview ko siya, nung binivent ko siya, paulit-ulit niya talaga yan sinasabi na inaamin ko na yan lahat, I want to make peace with the good Lord, na sana patawarin ako dun sa mga ginawa ko. Ang importante ay masiwalat ko yung katotohanan. Ganon din si Mr. Las Cañas. And then si Mr. Matobato, sabi niya, okay lang, naparusahan ako, basta ba, maparusahan talaga yung pinaka may pakana ng DDS killings. And naging consistent siya dyan eh. And then yung New York Times article kasi ay focused more on yung previous interview nila with Mr. Matobato. Nung nandito pa si Mr. Matobato. That's why may mga ganung mga photos no?
yeah.
So hindi na tinouch doon sa NYT article yung ano na yung pinaka-status niya insofar as
Yes,
ICC is concerned.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I guess they're being careful. Well, ma'am, maraming salamat po. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Attorney Laila De Lima.